Hey, get ready because Loop and Larry are bringing you our holiday special.
Here's the story of Loop and Larry, who are bringing us a very geeky show.
That's right, we have a feel-good episode in store. We'll be revisiting the 1988 TV movie, A Very Brady Christmas. Okay, guys, what is going on here? I'm getting a little creeped out.
It's gonna be a very Larry Christmas!
Slurp, slurp.
Okay, guys, let me out of here. Somebody, please help me. Help! Somebody!
In a world filled with intergalactic space battles, metahuman destruction on a global scale, and psychopathic serial hauntings, there's only one team who can make sense of it all. When your world is overrun with rampant pop culture, call Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh, 72! I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was either, but I mean, it's semi-Christmassy, I guess. It's
Yep.
Hey, everybody, this is Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek. Oh, I'm Loop.
I'm Larry!
I don't know what's going on right now. I think we've had too much eggnog. I think
Yes.
we're just
With nothing in it, just plain eggnog.
yeah, and that's the problem. So
Yes.
So welcome to our Christmas special, and it's going to be pretty fun because it's like I love a good Christmas movie,
Yep.
and we're going to review one today, so it's going to be fun, and it's our last episode of the year.
It is.
Yeah. So and then the first episode next year will be obviously our best of 2023. God, we'll be in 2024.
That's
doing
right.
2023. Every year I do my resolutions.
Yep.
So I give myself a bunch of things that I need to do in the year, and like I give myself tasks essentially to try to finish. This year I did horribly. Like normally I could do a lot, like and it's a combination between watching things and music. So what it does is it forces me to watch things that are on my shelf. That, you know, those shows like, let's say like a Lost, where you're like, oh, I'd love to watch Lost again. This will force you to do it. That's what I like about it. I'll say, okay, I'm going to watch the full thing of Lost or whatever it is. So I'll give you some of these and I'll tell you if I got them or failed them. And last year I did almost all of them. Like I did really well.
I remember that. That was good. I was impressed.
This year. Mind you, I did have a death in the family this year. So let's put that in perspective. So that happened. So that's probably why I didn't get to as many of these. It's been a bit of a weird year, but watch the full Arrested Development series.
I'm gonna say, am I gonna guess whether you did these things or not?
You can, sure.
I would have said but you've already said you didn't. I would have said you were going to, but okay, you didn't. Wow,
No,
that surprises me.
I didn't get to it.
All right.
And there was a whole thing at the beginning too, because remember it was going to get pulled from from Netflix, and then they brought it back again, and I was like, oh my god, thank god, because I've got the first like 3 seasons or 4, and then they stopped doing them after that. Like the 5th season never made it to any physical media. Watch the Twin Peaks original series. Did I? Did I not?
I'm gonna say yes, you did.
No, didn't get to that one either. No.
Oh,
watch WrestleManias 1 to 15.
No, you did not do that.
I didn't. And last year I watched 1 to 10, and I was like,
really?
I watched almost all of 11. And then I just didn't get back to it. Watch all the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yes, I'm gonna say you did do that.
I didn't.
What?
Now, mind you, I still got time. The year is not done yet.
You've got days. We're now talking about days you've got left here now.
Watch 10 music docs.
No, definitely did not do that.
I watched 2.
Okay.
Watch 5 regular docs.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you did that.
Did not.
I
watched 1.
All right.
And then I had a lot of music ones. I got all my music ones done. I have 8. Read 8 books.
No, nobody's ever read 8 books before. So
I'm on my 8th book right now.
Okay, well, you've got a couple of days left. You might be able to finish it.
I can finish this book. I'll get it done. So, and then I had a ton of other things like that where I have about another 20 things that most of them I didn't do, like make chimichangas. I haven't done that yet this year. Make fudge. Touch my toes. Can't do that still. Do a cartwheel. That wasn't happening. Buy a suit jacket.
Yep.
Got it
Oh,
done.
good. Good. All right. This is the most like eclectic list of things that anybody's ever tried to accomplish in their entire lives.
Like you should see all the music ones. There was a ton, and I got them all done. Like some of them were like listen to all the Prince albums. He's got 39 albums. Plus, I listened to other extra ones that were released. So that's like I did all those. Listen to the top 20 Rolling Stone albums of their top 500. I did that.
Oh, okay.
So I did that. Listen to discographies of at least 5 bands.
What?
And listen to full discographies of 5 bands I've never really listened to. So I did Genesis, who have like 12 albums. I did all of their albums.
Wow.
So
okay. So this is, you actually did pretty well. Like that's a pretty big accomplishment to go through all of that music.
Yeah, I did a lot of music.
You had just limited it to music. This would have been the most impressive thing that I've ever heard. But
another thing I didn't do this year is eat eggs Benedict. I did not do that this year. I've never had eggs Benedict in my life. I've never eaten it before.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Those are some of the things I didn't. I mean, there's still time. There's always time to have eggs Benedict.
I don't know. I'm a little disappointed that you didn't make a chimichanga.
I've always wanted to make my own chimichangas. I just didn't get a chance to do it. Last year I had on mine make stew. I've never made my own stew before. So last year I did it.
You did it?
Okay. Yeah, I did last year. So I finished it last year, but I got time. I still got a couple weeks before the end of the year. Some of these things can't happen.
Well, I just, please, if you've got time left in this year, if you do nothing else, please just make a chimichanga. I just want to hear about this process of you making a chimichanga. Okay.
These are some of the things that'll go on my list. A cartwheel, I don't think is going to happen, but I can try.
Not so much. I don't care about the Lord of the Rings or the Arrested Developments. I just want to see pictures of that chimichanga process. That's what I want to see.
Still time. I still have time. I'm going to try to fit some of this stuff in the last week. I'm going to really focus on this list.
I'm now putting Loop making a chimichanga on my list.
Things you need to do before you die, just got to get that chimichanga made.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Well, better luck next year. That's
all I can do. And while we think about that, let's just go to the pop capacitor.
That's a good idea.
All right, we are back with the pop capacitor, and we're going to focus on a Christmas movie. And if you're watching it right now, you can see it behind us. We're going to do a Very Brady Christmas. Came out in 1988. It was a TV movie, and it was the second highest rated TV film of that year.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Anyway, it does to me. It's the Bradys. How can you not love the Bradys?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So. And here's the plot in a nutshell again. The entire Brady family manages to overcome personal obstacles to spend a happy holiday together. Mike and Carol both decide that they're going to use their vacation money to bring all the kids home for Christmas. And Alice also breaks up with Sam the Butcher and is also living there at the same time. So everybody is back. The whole family is back.
Yeah.
And it's
for better or worse, they're all back.
it's a very Brady Christmas as it's called.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Okay. I will start out by saying I love this movie.
I know you do.
And it's one of my favorite Christmas movies now. It's like I'm watching it every year. I just love it. I don't know why. And I also love Brady Bunch as a show.
Yes. I have to start off by saying I love the Brady Bunch. I'm a huge fan. I've met all of them except for Jan and Marsha. So I've actually talked to the other kids and met them. I love the Brady Bunch. So don't let that cloud your judgment of what I think of this movie, because I love the Bradys. I love the Brady Bunch. Just
all right.
Put that out there. Put that out there.
So we'll let's just go into hits and misses, because I'm sure a lot of stuff will come out in this. So right.
You can start. What have you got right off the top?
I'm surprised I have any misses at all, really, because it was so good.
Okay.
I'll start with the hits. I love right off the top. If you're a Brady's fan, one of the things when you think of Brady Bunch, you think of the iconic opening of the show. And it opens up right away with the song. it opens up. You know, sometimes they do like movies of shows and they change it all and it doesn't seem like the same thing. Started and it showed like the original opener, like when they first started, and then all the people eventually change into like how they look now, like which is in '88. So I just love that. It's just very nostalgic. I love that whole opener. I thought it was really cool.
Yes, I agree. That was cool, and the music and the nostalgia is great. I think that's pretty cool, and that leads into my first hit, which is the house, because the Brady Bunch, one of the characters of the Brady Bunch was the Brady house, with that cool staircase and the horse statue, and the house is awesome. I always loved their house. The house in this movie I thought was super cool. So it's now 1988. So they have given that entire house a facelift. The layout is still the same, but the whole house is got a facelift. Every surface has been painted with like pastel colors for the 80s. But other things like there's now right above the staircase, in front of the staircase, there used to be like a brick or a like either brick or it was a painting or something like that was massive. It's now been replaced with glass bricks, so it's like a window right above right in front of the staircase. So that's new. Mike's office was right off the staircase behind the living room. There used to be a full brick wall between the living room and his office. That's now been opened up, so it's got a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more space in there. So that was kind of cool. The back TV room, which was at the back of the house behind the kitchen, used to be where they'd like a den where it was a TV room. It's now been converted into an exercise room. So it's got all wood paneling, but it's just like exercise equipment in there for Mike and Carol, because all the kids have moved out. So that's an exercise room. So that's kind of cool. And then in the kitchen, right over the sink, it used to be just a solid kitchen. Now it looks like they've knocked down part of the wall and there's like a greenhouse built
in there, like an aquarium or
it just, so they built onto that. So the house is just fully updated to match the style of the 1980s, which totally resonated with me. I thought that was cool. Like I was just like, oh, there's the new room, look at what they did over here. I just thought that was cool. I loved the look of the house, and it was so 80s. They really like embraced the style of the time. So
it reminded me of something my like dad would do to the house, like, and he has done, like take his regular house I was used to and just repaint everything like different colors. Like that's like and his house is very similar in that it's got like a lot of like that sort of style to it, right? It's an older home and he's painted it over and over again with different colors and different things, and it reminded me of that. So that they did a great job like updating, and the little details that they updated was really cool. So
they did, but it didn't lose the character of the original house. Like that horse statue is still there, and the furniture still laid out the same way, so it still looks like the house, but it's just modernized for the 80s. So I just thought that was awesome. I loved looking at the house.
It was pretty cool. It was neat, and it's sort of like it's an iconic set, but they didn't ruin it by updating it. It actually added to it, like just like it felt updated, like everybody's moved on in life and then things have happened. So
absolutely, so that was a hit.
Excellent.
Okay,
but I'm waiting for a miss from you.
Oh, all right. Oh, you wanted to jump right in? All right. Okay, so here's one of my big misses. Okay. So right near the beginning of the movie, there's a knock on the door. Carol and Mike go to answer the door, and it's Alice standing there, like in her regular clothes.
I have a very similar miss. I think I know where you're going. Okay.
Yeah, Alice, yay! And she walks in, and as soon as she walks in, she starts bawling, in a fake Alice sort of way. She's crying because Sam the butcher, who she eventually, I guess, married, cheated on her. He left her a note written on like brown paper that you'd get at the butcher shop that says essentially, I found a younger woman, and he went off to quote, and he seasoned her rump roast. So weird. So he's run off with a younger woman and left his wife. Like that's a huge deal. Like like they've been married for like 20 years or something. A long time. So Alice comes to the house to take comfort in being with Mike and Carol because they're like family, and she starts bawling. So they say to Alice, you can stay here. You can stay here, and we'll, you're part of the family. You can stay here. Next scene, Alice is in her full maid's outfit. She's making food for them. She's like, yeah, you can stay here, but you're going to work for us. And we're not going to pay you. You just get in that maid outfit and you start cooking for us because that's your job. I don't care if your husband walked out on you.
Well, they do say, Alice, you don't work for us anymore, but she can't get out of that mode. Like, she's like, I'd say most of the movie she was in the maid's outfit.
She was 100%, but they didn't, like, you'd think that they'd be like, Alice, please, like, sit down. We'll make breakfast for you and we'll do things for you. Nope. She was still like, you'd think that they would have just said, don't. First of all, why would she have even brought her maid outfit with her to go? Like, she hasn't been a maid for them for
maybe
years.
It was still they did say her room hasn't been touched since she left. So maybe it was just hanging in there or whatever. I don't know.
But she brought a suitcase. She had other clothes. I just found it really funny that she came there specifically because she was in, like, had a big horrible thing happen in her life, and yet they're like, yeah, you can stay here as long as you provide us with your cooking and cleaning services.
So ridiculous.
Couldn't get past that.
Hey, she likes to work, she likes to do, because it's funny because at the beginning of the movie they do say, Alice, like, we'll make breakfast, you don't have to do anything, like, you don't work here. But as the movie went on, she kept doing more Alice things, like, and then when they have the big, like, family dinner, there's no place set for her.
No, and she's
she's cooking the dinner.
She's making the food. She had made 3 pies. Yeah, there was no place for, even though there's a kids table. So there was the main table for the family, and there was a kids table. There was literally no place. So she would have been eating by herself in the kitchen. Like, this is horrible what they're doing to this poor woman.
Poor Alice.
Poor Alice.
I'm gonna come back to Alice. Let's park Alice for a second. I'm gonna come back to that later because I don't want to, like, as we kind of go through this, but I've got a miss in this as well, is that everybody was back, like the whole cast was back except for Cindy. She was the only one that did not return. Susan Olsen plays Cindy. She was not in there. She was not in the movie. So I was like, why is she not in this? So apparently in real life she went on her honeymoon and that's why she didn't do it. That was part of the reason. Also, Paramount had a deal where they could produce this if they could come up with at least 5 of the 6 kids. And they did. And she was kind of like the lowest tier, and apparently she was going to be paid the least. So that didn't really, like, get her to want to come back to this project, and she didn't bother coming back to it. So they had they had 5 of them, and then apparently they thought she was, like, kind of the lowest tier of the kids, like, that people like. So
she's pretty interchangeable, Cindy.
And so and then Jennifer Runyon played Cindy. And actually I thought she was great. Like, you kind of forget that she wasn't, they made kind of fun references that she wasn't the same person. There's a part where, like, Alice is waiting for all the kids. There's a big montage where Alice is waiting for the kids at the airport at different times. And this blonde hair girl comes up, she hugs her, and it's not her. And then the other girl that's playing Cindy comes up. So it's like, they're kind of making fun of the fact that it's not her.
Yeah.
Like, in some way.
At one point they say something about her curls. One of the brothers says, where are your curls? And she says, well, I haven't had curls in 12 years. Like, just the fact that she doesn't really look, but she was actually pretty well cast. She kind of looks like what Cindy could maybe have looked like. 12 years later after the show, or 15 years after the show ended, she kind of a little bit looks like that. So yeah, it wasn't bad casting. And I actually quite like her as an actress. She was pretty popular. She was in Ghostbusters. I think she's not a bad actress. So yeah, I didn't mind that, but it is a little weird.
She was probably way hotter than I thought Cindy would look. Like, it was like
very true.
So she was a very welcome addition to the cast, but the miss is that it wasn't all the original kids. I think they should have worked a little harder to get them all. Like, I think they could have gotten her or waited just a little bit to get to, or rode around her scenes or shot around, like, because the honeymoon doesn't take like 20 weeks of, like, shooting, like, to do. So she was kind of missed in that way. It would have been neat to see her in it.
Yeah, but I think so. Loop and I were talking about this while we were watching the movie. We determined that they produced other Brady movies. One of them that is on YouTube that I watched a good chunk of is called the Brady 500, and it's all about Bobby being a race car driver. And in that one, all the cast is there except for Marsha. They have a different actress playing Marsha. So we've determined that there are no actual Brady movies with all the girls in them. They're all interchangeable.
Yeah.
But all of the boys have, I think the boys have been in everything. I don't think they just show up to get paid and they'll do whatever. But the girls are more like, you know, careful about their roles, I guess. Yeah. They don't need to be in everything, but it's just funny that each movie sort of has a different one of the Brady girls is played by a different actress.
Yeah, it's like they're so interchangeable apparently or whatever. But so apparently that Brady 500 is an episode of the Bradys, which came out after this because this was so popular. They actually developed a show based on him because it was like it just did so well. But then the Bradys, they tried to make it too serious. And it bombed, like, because it wasn't as fun as like this would have been or whatever. So
it was terrible. So you mentioned at the beginning, the whole plot of this movie is the Mike and Carol have given up their vacation fund money and instead bought plane tickets for all the kids so they could all be there. So, but because it's a movie and because it can't be happy all the time, there has to be some sort of a family trauma or some sort of trouble that people get into so that they can get out of it at the end. Well, this movie was so heavy-handed with their family members in trouble. Literally, like, every family member had some sort of crisis that was happening right at the same time. Mike loses his big contract. Marsha's husband is fired from his job. Jan is separating from her husband. Bobby has dropped out of school to become a race car driver. What? Everybody has a big crisis, and Bobby's afraid to tell his parents because they think he's still in school. Everybody has this major like family crisis that's happening at the exact same time when they all come together, and it's just it was so heavy-handed, and it's obviously done so that at the end everybody's like storyline can be resolved and they can have a big happy ending. But because it was so heavy-handed, because every single person had some sort of crisis, you knew that it was just as a setup so that they could all be happy at the end. If they had like one person have a crisis, then everybody could have rallied around that person and had some heart-to-heart talks or done something and helped them out and come together. But there were so many crises, like nobody could care about anybody else's crisis because they were in their own crisis.
This is a good hit, actually. I do enjoy this one because it's call it a miss. I call it a hit. I like the fact they all had it was various degrees. Like Jan was on the verge of a divorce, but then like Cindy was just like she felt like she wasn't an adult because they told her that she had to come to it rather than asking her if she wanted to come. So there was various degrees of but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that they all sort of had something in their lives going on, and it was like I don't know.
It was just all bad stuff all at the same time. Like it was just like the curse of the Bradys. Like everybody's lives like fell apart all at the same time.
I think it's just like part of it too is just I get to defend this. Part of I don't know why. Part of this is because too like it's the Bradys are supposed to be this happy family, but everything wasn't quite right. Like even though they I think a lot of them felt like they had to come home, but it was to all be there at the same time. But it was this is where the drama comes, Larry. This is where the high level drama, and we haven't gotten to the biggest drama of this whole thing, the big ending. But
we'll get there. Don't worry.
Oh yes, it'll be gotten to.
All right. Okay, so let's hear another. Let's get a good hit in there.
Okay, I got a hit for you. Even though this was based on the show, and obviously it had elements that were very show-like, I still felt like it felt like an event. Like I still felt like there was enough outdoor stuff shot and enough things not in the house that I felt like I was watching a movie rather than just watching like an episode of the show and everything took place in front of a studio audience or however they used to do it. So I did feel like they did a good job at like making it feel much bigger and more like an event So and also the soft focus was in full effect in this as well. There's a lot of soft focus going on in this movie. Make everyone kind of look a little bit younger than they maybe were, or a little less harsh than they were.
I agree. And that is true. Like they did try to make it into a movie. Like you said, they were like Mike's office. Like they actually had a shot of him like walking down the street and going into the office building. But in the TV show, it was just another set. Like you never saw him going to that office really. I think you might have actually. I think Greg had to deliver some blueprints and came out, but regardless, so it felt bigger because you felt like they were actually in the world, like they weren't just in their house or in a another set. So it did, you're right, it did feel bigger, like they did take it to the next level of Bradydom. Okay, so I've got another hit.
Okay.
I did enjoy the classic 80s hiding a secret from each other gag.
Oh, that's a classic.
That's the classic. It happened all the time in the 80s where like a couple would have like individually they would have a secret that they would be excited about. So in this situation, Mike and Carol had this vacation fund. So as their Christmas gift to each other, they were gonna each give the other one a trip. So Carol was going to give Mike a trip to Greece, and Mike was going to give Carol a trip to Japan. But
like, what's going to happen with this? Like,
I don't know. But they didn't tell each other. It was going to be a big surprise. But fortunately, Alice was there, so they could tell. They could each individually tell Alice, and then Alice has all of the knowledge. and then they like both, of course, ended up at the travel agency together. But didn't realize it together, and they were both sitting on opposite sides of a half wall, each talking with a different agent about their trips, and that's how the gag gets. The secret comes out is that they overheard each other, but it was such a classic 80s like. Don't tell each other, but I'm going to tell the maid, and I'll tell the maid too. And then the maid knows everything, and then the maid is all conflicted about what to do with all this.
Yeah, she doesn't want to tell anybody, and
so I did so good. It didn't last very long. I mean, that was only about 20 minutes of the first 20 minutes of the movie, or 15 minutes.
Well, there's also a whole point where they each call all the kids to tell them what their plans are for Christmas. And so then all the kids were hearing both sides of the story, and like
So there was this whole, I thought it's such a classic 80s gag.
We call that in the business wackiness is what we call that. That is full on wackiness.
That was 100% whack right there. So that was another one of my hits. So what else do you got?
Okay, so here's a miss I had. And there's a bit of confusion in this as well. Maybe you saw this as well. Marcia and her husband,
right?
Wally, which is her husband, and he was actually in the Brady Bride show, which came out like in 81 or something.
Yes.
So they actually, to their credit, they kept the same husbands of Jan and Marcia that were actually in that show. They were still playing them in this show, which is, I like consistency, even in my Brady's, and it was very consistent that way. But Wally is so irritating in this movie because he's one of those guys that's like a sad sack. Yeah. And so he loses his job and he's down on himself and he's just irritating through the whole thing. Like even when things go right for him at the end, when he actually gets a job, he's still kind of sad sacky. Like he's just not like, he's just a very irritating like character generally in this. Also with Marcia, did you find that Marcia was hardly in it? Like she had her moments at the beginning when they said, oh, we got to go to my parents and all that, which is like not a very big scene. But in all the rest of it, she was really not, she didn't have a lot of lines. She was there. But she was just sitting around, like she'd be at the table or whatever, but she didn't really have a lot to do.
No, you're right.
Is like a popular like actress. She's a popular character, like one of the most popular of the kids. I'd say the most popular of all four of them. Or six of them, sorry. But I just found like it's like she's like kind of an iconic character, and she just was hardly used in this. I didn't think she was used to the capacity she could have. Wally got all the screen time in it. Like,
and you know who else got most of the screen time is the fake Cindy.
She had a lot. She had a lot of stuff to do.
She had a lot of screen time. Like she had a lot of lines, a lot of interactions with other characters. They gave fake Cindy a big part in this movie. But yeah, real Marcia just sort of faded into the background.
like she was there, but she wasn't even like a focus really of it. Like she
Oh.
was like, it was weird. Like I just found like she wasn't used enough like in it. And I don't know why that was. I don't know if that's just the way it was. Like if I was writing this, Marsha would have a much bigger part in it.
Yeah, I would have
Like,
thought so, especially since their storyline was pretty big. That Wally got fired, and
yeah.
they were coming and he didn't have a job and all that. It was a pretty big part of the plot. Yeah, you're right. He had more of like, I don't know, maybe she could only shoot for like 5 days or something, or I don't know, maybe she wasn't on set long enough to get lines.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
I don't
just
know what
very
this.
odd.
Yeah, you're right. That was a bit of a miss.
Yeah, I just don't understand. But yeah,
Yeah.
Wally can go away. I wasn't a big fan
Yeah.
of him, but
Not a fan of Wally, no.
no.
Okay, I've got another miss.
Okay.
And it was a miss that I wish was going to be a hit, but it
Okay.
ended up not being. So they, right near the beginning of the show, they were talking about their memories, like the family's memories, and they were talking about, remember when we went on this vacation, or I don't remember exactly what, but anyway, then they flashed back to the original show, like,
Yeah.
so that there was a clip on there from the original show, and I thought, oh, this is going to be so fun, all the family's going to get together, they're going to reminisce, we're going to see clips from the show. Yeah, they didn't carry through with that. They only did that one more time at the very end, and I actually thought that would have been a cool thing, is for the kids to have gotten back together and like had like talked about their memories of their times when they were little and in the house, and then the show clips of like Tiger
Yeah.
and things like that. It would have been a cool addition to the show, to be nostalgic about like how things used to be and all that. But they did it once right at the beginning, and literally it was like an hour and a half later before they did it again, and they only did it one time. And I don't know why. Like, if they were going to do it, why not do it all the way through, or not do it at all? Like,
Yeah, or at least a couple more times throughout. They
yeah,
didn't have to overkill it. Like it's not a clip show, but
no,
it's like because it was effective when they used it, because they showed there were this very short clips, but
yeah,
it was effective because it related back to what they were talking about.
yeah,
And they're from Christmas episodes or whatever, so it was kind of neat. But yeah, they didn't really. I had written that down as well, is that they just didn't follow through on these, and I thought it would have been kind of neat to have like a few more in there. It didn't have to have a lot more, but just a couple at least. But
yeah, exactly.
like it
Like two.
wasn't consistent, basically.
No.
Like
Yeah, like after the first one, I was expecting, like one per half an hour kind of thing, or
yeah,
something like that. But they just sort of faded away. So I wish I wanted that to be a hit, because that would have been a hit for me if they had put a couple more in. That would have been a hit, that they reminisced and got nostalgic about the actual stuff that went on in the original show. But
yeah.
they dropped the ball. And
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that decision was made, or maybe that was all they ever planned to do. But I did like the idea of having the clips in it, because they've got them, and it's kind of neat to see the juxtaposition of them as children and now as adults. Like it was kind of neat to see like them kind of like how they look back then. So
Exactly. So I don't know what that was all about.
all right,
Okay.
I've got a miss, a hit, and an annoyance.
All right. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can do my annoyance.
All right. Good.
I don't know why.
This is other than Wally, you mean?
Yeah, other than Wally. Wally was just an
Okay.
irritating character, but this was just an annoyance, and I don't know if it'll annoy you as much as it annoyed me.
Okay.
I don't think it was I don't think it needed to be fully as a hit or a miss, but it was Peter's PJs drove me insane in it. So there's a part where they're kind of like sleeping overnight. They've made all the rooms into like bedrooms for everybody, but Peter and Bobby were sleeping out like in the living room.
Yeah.
And Peter's got these PJs on that are like old timey PJs that go down like past your knees, like it's like a giant shirt.
Yes.
That look like something like Ebenezer Scrooge would wear, like in an old timey movie. Like they was so irritating. Like no one wears those.
No.
Like why is he wearing them?
I don't know. And it's funny because he was like, he's a businessman. Like in the movie, Peter grows up and he's like a business guy. I don't really know what he does. I don't think they ever actually really say what he does, but he's a business guy. So he was wearing formal clothes. He was in a big fancy like office building. You'd think he'd be like getting like the most stylish of attire. But yeah, he went full old school with this.
I expected him to be carrying one of those like oil lanterns
Yes.
around or something. Like it's
And have like a
with the
nightcap.
with the candle on. Yeah.
Yeah, have like the cap that you wear. Yeah,
I don't. It's not a hit or a miss. It's just it was like a weird choice.
yes.
Like why would they have him wearing this bizarre like old timey pajamas? Like it was so bizarre. Like it looked ridiculous, but it just irritated me. I don't know why I had to mention that, but
yeah.
Like just get some regular pajamas like everybody else.
Yeah,
you know, that's
exactly.
that's all we're asking for. Like I expect it from maybe Bobby, but not Peter. Like
it's maybe Greg. I could see Greg
possibly, but
yeah,
like not yeah.
You know. Anyway. Okay, give us a hit.
Okay. This is, I think, one of the biggest hits of the movie, and it's something you don't see, but I know.
Okay.
No Cousin Oliver in this.
Yes.
Thank God. Like, I don't know if he got hit by a sleigh and died. I don't know what happened to Cousin Oliver. I don't care. I am so glad he was not mentioned in it. He wasn't in it. There was no, like, he's just been like forgotten about.
He's like the forgotten family member now. Yeah, I honestly, this came up when I was watching it too, because I was watching it with my wife, and because the little kids, like the Bobbies and Cindy, like all their little kids were talking about how they were going to go get to see their cousins, because they were all getting together, and I instantly thought, does that mean that we're going to see Cousin Oliver? Not realizing he's not one of their cousins, he's one of the So that would mean that Bobby or I mean Mike or Carol's brother and or sister. I don't really know how that relationship was.
Yeah,
anyway, it would have had to come to. But yeah, for a minute I did. So I actually thought about that too. I thought, are we going to see Cousin Oliver? And we didn't, and that was just fine with me.
Thank you, producers, for not bringing in Cousin Oliver on that. He was very forgotten very quickly because no one liked him. He was like, you got enough kids to worry about. We don't need Cousin Oliver in there. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. That was another, speaking of tropes of the 80s, bringing in a child to like try to spice up a show was a major 80s trope. Like, even like Family Ties did that. Like stop it. Like,
yes.
don't need...
Yeah, and I think Danny Cooksey built his entire career on being that extra kid who remember, wasn't he like the kid on Different Strokes? Wasn't he like the brother that they brought in, or the
Sam? I think his name was.
Yeah,
because it was Drummond's new wife's son, I think is what he was.
Yeah.
So
but I'm pretty sure that Danny Cooksey built his entire career around being the forced family member. Yep, that was good. All right, I've only got one more miss.
Yeah,
I've got one little hit that I'll just throw out there, and it's just a little one.
Yeah.
So the storyline, Marsha and Wally's storyline is that, like we said, Wally was fired from his job. He was a sales guy at a toy company. That was his job that he was fired from. And so when they're in their home has a lot of little toys and things around. And one of the toys that he picks up and he's holding and playing with is a boglin.
You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was like, hey, there's a boglin in the Brady movie. Which I mean, it was just a silly little thing, but I just thought that was pretty fun that they actually used a real toy that was popular in the 80s.
That is cool. That's actually good eye on that one.
Yeah, and it was a boglin of all things. Like, it wasn't a Cabbage Patch doll or a My Little Pony or something. It was like a creepy boglin.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. So that became one of my hits.
Oh, perfect.
And that's all I have for hits. I've only got one more miss. So what do you got?
Okay, my miss, and I think this is a big one. This is like ridiculous. Okay. So let's go back to Alice and Sam again. So I want to revisit this. Okay. So Sam cheats on Alice.
Yes.
Alice comes back home, and the family's like annoyed. Like Mrs. Brady's annoyed. Everybody's annoyed at this. So like, I mean, they're angry because she got cheated on.
Yes.
And he was very like glib about it too. Like, he just sort of like, oh, sorry, I'm cheating and blah blah blah.
And younger
at the very end, what's that?
A younger woman, and
it's very blunt it's terrible. Like, when you think about it, like, poor Alice. Like, Ann B. Davis is like a classic. You can't go wrong. Like, don't like mess with Alice with me. Like, I love Alice. Yeah. So at the end, everybody's sort of like, everything goes right and everything happens, and everyone's like, so it's a very happy ending. Yeah. And then a Santa Claus shows up at the door. Well, it's Sam in disguise, and he's like, Alice, please take me back. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll take you back. And everybody's like gathers around and hugs him.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is a man that cheated on her, like literally cheated, and they all is forgiven
instantly,
like
instantly.
I got so angry at that. That's the one part I actually got angry during, because I'm like, I don't know why they're so happy about this, like that he's back. I know they're happy for Alice that if the relationship can be rebuilt, but this guy cheated on her. Like if I was there, I would have punched him in the face. Like he was like I'm so.
And not only that, but it happened like a couple of days before. It's not even like 6 months had passed and everybody calmed down. Like it happened just a couple of days before. So this was still fresh. Like Alice would have been, in fact, it might have even been the same scene where Bobby talks about Sam bringing meat or doing something, like reminiscing about Sam for a second. And Alice instantly starts breaking down and crying and says, why did you have to bring up Sam? Why did you have to bring up his name? And I'm sure that was the same scene that then
or a couple scenes before, but it was like
the same day or the day before, day out. Like it was like she was still in a lot of pain about this whole cheating situation.
Yeah, like he's done her wrong, and not like in a bad way. Like why is everybody suddenly like all forgiven? Like it's like you don't forgive this guy. Like I'm surprised Greg didn't grab his mustache and whip him with it. Like it was like like I was just like, I'm like, just boot this guy out of the house. I would have been happier if they just would have booted him out of the house. Like he hurt Alice, and it's you can't repair that damage. Like just with him showing up in a Santa outfit. And by the way, the guy that played Sam wasn't the same guy. It was a different guy. That's why they disguised him, I think. But
which I thought was hilarious because the way they did it was the Santa walked in the house, just like barreled past everybody and walked in the house and up to Alice and said, Alice, honey, it's Sam. And then he turns his back to the camera, pulls down the Santa beard so she can see his face, then puts the Santa beard back up and turns back to the camera. So now his face is covered again so that we can't see who the actor is, but presumably it's the same one. And they just kept the beard on the whole rest of the time but yet they could recast Cindy, no problem. But we don't want to recast Sam. That would be sacrilegious.
No one remembers Sam. I mean, he was kind of memorable, I guess, but it's
but you can recast Cindy, but you can't recast Sam. What?
But he's also a womanizer who obviously the younger woman left him, so now he's like crawling back to Alice. So
I don't know. Yes, I agree. Poor Alice.
I hope a wall of sausage falls on him. Like
not only did they make Alice work for them even in her time of pain, but then they embraced Sam, just like tossing all this stuff at poor Alice.
I hate Sam. I hate that whole character now, because I know that's how it ends up. So
we can never go back and rewatch the show the same way. I mean, who knows? Maybe he was cheating on Alice when he was in the butcher shop back then too.
Probably was.
You cheat once, you cheat 100 times.
Yeah, that's right.
That goes.
I'm sure his sausage wasn't just being sold. Like I'm sure.
All right. Now I'm going to give you another miss over here.
On that note.
All right. Do you have more?
No, I'm done.
Okay. All right. I'm jumping right to my last miss. The last miss is the entire ending of the movie.
Oh, what? That was the best part.
The whole ending of the movie. So they're in the middle of Christmas dinner. They're all sitting around the table. Phone rings. It's Mike's ex client, because the client has already dropped Mike from his project, saying that the building that Mike helped construct or did the plans for has partially collapsed, and there are two security guards trapped in this building, and only Mike can come to the rescue and figure out how to get them out of this building. Well, first of all, Mike designed the building that's partially collapsed on them, so I'm not sure that he would be the best person to figure that out.
Well, let's hold up for a second, though. The reason Mike was dropped was because he told them that they have to put extra structure up so this wouldn't happen, and they didn't, and they ignored him. But now they have no one else to turn to because they couldn't get a hold of the guy that took over for him, and they're trying to cheaply make this building, and it came back on them. This is
okay. Fair enough. That's true. Okay. So anyway, so Mike single-handedly goes back and takes off his jacket and puts on a hard hat and walks right into the partially collapsed building to figure out how he can get the guys out of there, and tells the construction worker to do some digging on the other side to alleviate some of the pressure on this area. I don't know. It's all architect jargon that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's in there, and then all of a sudden the building collapses even more while Mike is in there. Oh my gosh. Now Mike is trapped too. So Mike is trapped in there with the 2 security guards. Obviously, at some point they call the family, because the next scene is all the family is now down at the construction site behind police tape, and they're all like worried and, oh, is Mike going to be okay? I don't know. And then a couple of minutes later, somehow the 2 security guards make their way out. So they figured out how to get out of there without Mike. And so they're now.
Well, he was with them at one point, because they said they said that he was behind them, and then he found their way. Yes.
Yeah, but somehow they got out. Mike is still trapped inside. So they're in there. And then, so now everybody is feeling like, really like, oh, this is the end of Mike. This isn't good. Mike's a goner for sure. So the only way to deal with that is to start singing, "Oh Come All Ye Faithful." Is that what is that what they're singing?
Yep.
And that's where the second flashback to the original show came in, is because that's the song that Carol sang when Cindy wished for, or asked for, her voice back. Remember, she had laryngitis. Cindy asked Santa for her voice back message. So you get the flashback of that. Anyway, so at the police tape line, Carol starts quietly singing this song, and then everybody else in the whole place starts singing the song, obviously. And then they cut back to Mike, who's literally like buried under like rubble and like I-beams and concrete and everything, like just on top of it. But they're all singing, and they're so passionate about their singing. Somehow the singing draws Mike out of the building. It was the singing that saved Mike.
We call that a Christmas miracle.
We call that a really bad.
I guess you don't believe in miracles, Larry. That's how he escaped, was because it was the power of song and the power of love, which has brought him out. And the power and the magic of Christmas.
You call that the writers were lazy.
That was what I mean. Maybe if you sang a little more, you could save people, but you just don't. You choose not to. So, I mean,
I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" That's how he got out of there.
That's the perfect ending, because it flashes back, and then she sings the song, and he somehow gets out of the rubble. You don't need to know how he got out. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. It's that the fact that he heard the music and the sweet, sweet tones of Carol Brady, and it drew him out of the building and safety.
Did it initiate his superpowers, and he like hulked his way out? Like,
we'll never know how magic works. We'll never know how magic works.
He bionic manned himself out of there. I don't know how he did it.
Guess you're not a believer. My favorite part of the whole movie is like
up to that point, it was a fairly realistic movie. It could have happened. All these people, he could have lost his job, he could have been separated, they could have whatever. But then the power of song magically dragged Mike out of the rubble.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. I love that ending. It's just like
it's the craziest ending.
The only thing with that, I was like, it would have made it better is if the whole building collapsed the second he got out. Would have been good, but they wouldn't have done that. But the other thing I thought they kind of glazed over, which maybe they do in the Brady Brides, I don't know, but is the fact that Jan's an architect as well.
Oh yes, they did mention it in this.
Yeah,
movie.
they mentioned it just briefly and kind of glazed over. But I'm like, shouldn't she maybe, like, it would be kind of cool if she would have helped her, like helped him out, like. Not maybe to get out, but at least like kind of talk together, like, or something. Yeah. But I don't know what kind of architect she is. Like I don't know what that could be in it. There's probably obviously a lot of jobs in architecture, but
obviously not a very confident one. She just stood there and just like, I don't know what to do here.
And again, Cindy had a big scene in that, and like the regular cast didn't.
That's right, yeah, because it was Cindy who reminded Carol of that time in the past where she wished for her voice back. So yeah, this fake Cindy got like tons of screen. She was literally the star of the show. Fake Cindy.
Yeah, she got a lot of screen time. I don't know if she would have had it been like
Susan
Olsen, but I don't know. I don't know if they just added more because she was in it. I don't know.
Well, I honestly think now, having watched part of the Brady 500. Jennifer Runyon is a much better actress.
Okay, so maybe that's why she got it more to do.
Cindy, because Susan Olsen was in Brady 500, which was the follow-up, I guess, to this, and
like the Brady's,
not good. She was not a strong actress. But Susan or Jennifer Runyon was like a legitimate actress, had been in lots of things, and so I think that they could rely on her to actually deliver emotion, and so I think probably because she was there, she got more screen time.
So does this stand up?
Well, I mean, for what it is, like it is a Brady thing, and really the Brady show was kind of goofy as well, like their thing. So it was fun. Like I enjoyed watching it. Like it was a fun thing. I just found it like really over the top. Like they were trying really hard to make emotion where there really wasn't any. That's my take on it.
Mine's a little different. I may have teared up a couple times during it.
Really?
And especially when they first kind of see each other for the first time, and I just love the Bradys, and I think it's a solid movie. I think it's got a little drama, it's got like a little bit of everything in there, and I don't know, I just liked it. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's got the nostalgia in the characters you love are back, and no one really goes out of their character that they had in the beginning. Like no one's really like suddenly Peter's not super wacky, or like, you know what I mean? They kind of stay within the boundaries of the characters they had before. So
however, mentioning Peter real quick, he does turn into a bit of a jerk, because his whole storyline is that his boss, he's dating his boss, who is his boss and is making more money, and Peter cannot abide by the fact that this woman is making more money than he is, like that his girlfriend is making more money than he is, and he actually says that. Like they actually talk about the fact that Peter can't stand that his girlfriend makes more money than him. So I'm like, dude, if you love the girl, it doesn't matter. Like, just
but it's a different time. It's a different time, and
I was a little let down by Peter's.
I think he learned a lesson. I think he learned a big lesson at the end. So about about relationships,
getting married, I guess, or something. I don't know what the lesson.
I mean, it had again, this nostalgia, but it also had it did have some cheese factor in it, like the part where they're trimming the tree and they're singing fa la 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 la. That part was very cringeworthy.
Super cringe. Yeah.
But there's a lot of characters that they had to work with, because everybody had like spouses and they had to kind of introduce everybody. So there was a lot going on in this movie, but I thought that it was pretty concise. I think it's a good movie. I watched it last year. I watched it this year, and I'm going to watch it every year because it's one of my favorite. I put this higher than most. Like, I'd watch this before Christmas Vacation.
What?
By far. I think this is much better.
Oh,
I'm going to say it right now. I'm just like,
I literally
unpopular opinion. I think this is better than Christmas Vacation.
This episode now may actually garner our first batch of hate mail.
I think there's people going to agree with me. I think Christmas Vacation's overrated. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun movie, but I think it's overrated. I think people really want to like it, and I don't know. I think this movie is has some heart, and I think it's got some some Christmas magic. It's got a dash of Christmas magic. That's all I ever asked for in a movie, and I think this has got it.
For me, it dashed the Christmas magic. Wow. Well, there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cousin Eddie. I just like this better.
I would take Cousin Eddie over Cousin Oliver any day. In the battle of the cousins, Cousin Eddie, 100%.
You can quote me on this. You can quote it and put it out there. I don't care. It's just it's unpopular opinion, of course, but I don't care. This is a better movie. This is a better movie for me. I think it's better. So
okay,
there you go.
Fair enough.
On that note, I think I just ruined the rest of the year for Larry.
Wow. I don't even know what to do anymore.
I might even just go back and rewatch this again.
You're forgetting that I actually have your copy. So.
Oh, yeah, I got to come over and get it. It's
yes.
So good.
If it survives the night. Oh, that's good.
All right. Well, that's it for us.
Yep, sure is.
Yep. Have yourself a great holiday season and be safe. And we'll definitely be back next year with our 2023 in review.
Yep.
And I'm already trying to think if this came out this year, I think I would have been my top movie of the year.
If this came out this year, this would be my entire bottom of the barrel. Right there.
Well, but it didn't come out this year, so there you go.
Fortunately.
Apparently, when this movie came out, apparently critically, it was, and a lot of fans hated it. But as it's been on, I think fans started to like actually clamor for it. So it kind of they changed their views on it as over the years. So, and I know why, because it's
in all seriousness, I could see that happening. Like it's so cheesy and so over the top and so like ultra Brady. I could see how like I totally can understand how you like it so much. Like it is got that nostalgia factor, and it's not boring. It's kind of fun to watch. So I get it. Is it better than Christmas Vacation? Not by a long shot.
I say yes. Anyway, that's it for the show. Have a great holidays. Have a safe holidays. Again, go on our socials if you want to contact us at all, or maybe you have a movie you want us to review or a show or something. Send it to us, and we'll see you next year. And have yourself a great Christmas and happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Produced by Matthew C. Loop and Lawrence Simner. A Loop and Larry production.
Bueller.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Bueller.
Bad news. The fog is getting thicker.
And Leon's getting larger.
Inconceivable.
Brian's right. It's an elf.
Wax on.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Wax off.